Alright, so my name is John, and we're going to make a tower defense game as fast as possible. So let's make a new project, create and edit. Awesome. So I'm going to make this a 3D tower defense game. You know, the basics. There's, for one right now, we're just going to start off with an entity over here. That'll be the player, you know, an enemy over here. And then I guess we'll have the enemy send out stuff to the player, and the player will build up defenses to defend against it. So let's go ahead and just make a... I'm just going to make some meshes to start off with, just to represent shit. So we'll call this road. Represent things, sorry. Alright, we'll call this road. We're just going to make this a... you know, why not make it a box? We'll take this box and we'll just give it a regular material for kicks and giggles, and then we'll make this like 30. Alright, so we have some distance there. Why not go, let's actually just do 100. That'll make it much simpler for us. And we'll make that, we'll just call the node up here world, so we know what it is. We'll then add another one, and it'll be another mesh instance. We'll just call this player. This is just going to be a representation for now, when we might make something different, and we'll call this one enemy. Enemy. I'm not sure what word I spelled there, but that was not enemy. Enemy. Alright, we'll make this one a triangle, because triangles are evil. We'll bring it over here, and we'll put a red material on it to symbolize evil as well. The mark of the devil. Alright, so we have that triangle. Let's just go ahead and make it, what do we do? 5, 5, and 5 equilaterally. We'll go to our player, and he shall be a capsule because he is good. And we'll call this one 1. Actually, we'll do, what do you think, 3 and 6? There we go. Perfect. I guess it should be, what, 12? Yeah, there we go, to make it a capsule. So now we have our sensu bean over here. We'll go ahead and add a albedo. We'll make that blue. Doesn't really even matter, but you know, that represents player. I gotta let my cat in because he's scratching. So next thing we need to do, we need to have towers. So we should probably make a tower scene and then allow the player to spawn them in. So to spawn them in, the player would have to have some type of buttons, and we should make some type of enemy to attack this guy. So let's actually make a new scene, and we'll have an enemy that just advances forward. Let me save this scene as well. We're going to call this one world, and I'm going to save it in a folder probably called, I guess we'll call it scenes. Okay, and yeah, we'll just call this, yeah, world. Why not? Who cares? And awesome. We also need to add a camera to this, so we won't be able to see anything. We're not ready to run it yet. And I guess I'll have to add a script on the camera too. We can add a very simple one. Sorry, my cat is in here. But what we want to do with that is alright, so we have a camera. We want to add a script to it. We're going to name this something different than camera 3D. Yeah, that is a bad idea. So we're just going to call this EZ Cam. Nice. And in the process, all we have to do is say if input dot is action just pressed, and the action is action pressed, actually, not just pressed. Is action pressed, and we'll say up, and then we're going to do down, left, and right, and then we'll say position dot, let's see, we're moving up and down, that'll be z plus equals 1. It'll actually be minus equals, and we'll just have a movement amount variable as well. Movement amount. There we go. So we've got that movement amount not declared. Awesome. Yeah, we got to do that. So we can just put an on ready var, and what this does is allow us to set an amount of movement the camera will make. For right now, we'll just set it equal to 5. So every time we hold down the up button, we should move. We should add 5 to our Z position. We have to add a bar right here. Sorry about that. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get rid of this shit and get rid of that stuff. Sorry. All right. Okay. So we're gonna do that a few more times, and then we're gonna add these in our project settings. So we'll just repeat this in all the directions that we want to go. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So we got to go up, down, and then we got to go left and right and forward, forward and backward. Nice. So awesome. And then so up and down should be our Y, actually. Sorry. Forward and backward should be our Z. So we'll just have to change this to X, and then we should be all good to go. Although these might be swapped, so I think I'm gonna have to do, I need a plus here and a minus there. Right should be a plus, and then left should be a minus, and down should be a plus, interestingly enough, I believe. And Y up is negative in Godot. So that should all be good. Let's go ahead and add those up, down, left, right, forward, backward. Cool. So let's do it. Here we go. And we'll put these in. So that should be S, and down is Q. So cool. Nice. So we should be able to move around in our scene. We're also going to need to add some other stuff to our camera so that we can like spawn stuff in. And what I'll do right now is just make, I can make a timer to spawn nodes of our little triangle here. So we got to make an enemy. And what I'll do is make a new scene. We'll say 3D scene. I'm going to call this enemy. So if you had like a more advanced model with animations and stuff, you could make this a character body 3D to, you know, move your animation bodies, or if you were like moving along a track, or if you were using some type of pathfinding, you would probably want to use a character body. But for this, I'm just going to use a pretty much just a node, and I'm just going to move it forward in the X direction, because we're assuming that we're only moving in one direction in this game. But you could easily change this to a character body and have it follow a path, and I might make a tutorial for that, but this will be faster. So all we need to do here is add a mesh, collision shape 3D right there. Oh, we're also going to need that. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Area, and then we add that collision shape there. So now we have an area and a collision shape. And now we'll add the mesh to represent what it actually is. So we're just going to do like a mini triangle, or why don't we do cylinders? Why not? Who cares? Doesn't matter. So I'm going to go 0.125. Yeah, and then we'll just put this down to like 1, and we'll bring this up right here. So we've made this cylinder mesh, and now we've made this area, and we're going to call this enemy cylinder collision. We'll just call it enemy collision. It doesn't really need to know the shape. Collision. All right, perfect. So now we got to make the shape, and we're gonna make the same shape. So I guess it really doesn't matter. It can be a little bit bigger than the shape. So we'll just have it be like right here. Or you know what I could do? I can delete that. There's no reason. And I can go here and just go mesh, create tri-mesh static body. And then I can drag this collision shape there and delete this static body because we don't need it. So now I have a collision shape for my, my mesh right there. So there we go. This is going to be advancing forward. So what we'll do is make it red as well. I'll just add a new standard material, albedo, color, and red because it's an enemy. And we'll add a script, and we'll put this in the, we'll call this the scripts. Let me go up to, out of the scene folder. Whoop. out of here, new script, and instead we're doing, oh, we are doing scripts, my bad. So scripts, enemy, put that in, awesome, save it, wonderful. I guess I probably should have done that with the other script, but it doesn't really matter. So now that we have this, what do we want to do? In the process function, we're just going to say position. Actually, let's go ahead and make a state machine. So we'll say onReady var current state equals, and we'll just set it equal to nothing. We'll say at onReady var next state equals, and we'll add our final one, the onReady var prev state equals, and I think the first one we're going to actually set this to idle is what I normally like to do. And I'm going to make the simplest state machine you can, which is basically just a match statement. So we're going to match the current state. Okay. So, yeah, first, before we match the state, though, we have to update it. So if you're not familiar with a process function, this is running like 60 times a second in your game. It's running continuously, and you don't have to call it. It's a function in Godot that runs continuously. So we're going to take advantage of that by saying current state, and we're going to set that equal to our next state. And before we do that, we're going to save our current state, the one that we're currently on, in our previous state. So if you're thinking about this happening every tick, it's going from, it's basically saving the state that we were just in, and then we're updating our state that we are in to the one that we want to pass in. It'll make more sense later if you never used it, but if you have used a state machine, then you're familiar with this. So we'll have idle, and then we'll just have pass here. We don't need to do anything. I'm going to put another one down here, and we'll call this walk forward. Walk forward. And so if I want to change from, basically if I want to change state from idle to walk forward, what's the problem? Oh. There we go. So if I was idling and I want the guy to walk forward, all I have to do is change in here. I would say next state equals walk forward, just like that. And I would have to attach some logic here so it doesn't just switch automatically. So one thing I can do is say if our previous state, if our prev state is not equal to our current state, meaning this is the first tick that we have entered into this idle state. So it's the first time, we're only going to do this once basically, instead of running it 60 times a second. So I could print a message here, and it would say hello, and it would only run one time, whereas if I have something out here and I print it, it's going to run the entire time. And I'll just do that as an example. But I won't print the same thing because that would be really stupid. So I'll just say idle. And I will save the enemy script. I guess I should make like a new enemy folder. I don't know. They need a folder for everything. There we go. Save it on in there. Perfect. So, wonderful. I think that looks good. Yeah, so what do we want to do? We want to walk forward after a few seconds. So what I'm going to do is set up a timer on the enemy node, so after about 2 seconds it'll switch from idle to the walk forward state. So we'll just go here and add a timer. And there are different ways to do this, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So let's just do a 3-second timer. We'll do it one shot, and we'll do it auto start, and we'll go to timeout, and we'll connect that to our script here. And if you're not familiar with what the one shot and auto start do, auto start just means it starts as soon as this node is ready, and one shot means it's not going to keep playing the timer after it runs. It's only going to run one time. Otherwise, it would keep playing this function every 3 seconds. So we're just going to say next state equals walk forward. walk forward. So, perfect. Now we just need to add some stuff in here to walk forward. And what we're going to do is just update our position, much like our camera. So, position dot x, I guess, plus equals, we'll go movement amount. Movement amount. Is that how you spell movement? No. Movement, right? I don't fucking know. Alright, good enough. And then we'll have to make that an onReady var. Our favorite type of var. You really can't escape them. So, movement amount, we'll make it 4. We'll see how fast that is. And yeah, I mean, this is a very simple way to do it. And we should actually change this to physics process because we're moving stuff in the physics realm. So let's go physics process and we'll get rid of that. And let's try that. We might have to multiply that by delta, but I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. Right now we're just going to see how it works as a constant rate. And all we have to do is go to our enemy here and let's add a script. Let's actually call this main enemy. And then we're going to add a script to him, and we'll put that in the scripts here with the enemies. Perfect, whatever. Doesn't really matter where we put it. And all we're going to do here is get rid of all of this. And I think what I want to do is I can just spawn one. So I'll actually Control Z. I'm going to do in the ready function, I'll just spawn one of our guys. So I'll show you how to spawn something. So first we need to say at onReady var, and we'll say little enemy, and that will equal load, and then we'll get the scene we want to load in. So that's the enemy scene that we just made. And then in here we're gonna say we can actually just even get rid of this, and we can put this inside of our ready function. It's pretty much the same thing. Whoops. Control X and then Control V, put that right in there. So we have our little enemy, and then now we need to instantiate that. So we'll say var le equals little enemy dot instantiate. I'm not a very good speller. Perfect. Instantiate. Perfect. And then what we want to say is world. We're going to say add child. We actually want to get our parent, so we'll say get parent dot add child. So we are the main enemy, and we're getting our parent up here, the world, and we're adding the child le to that. And we want to tell it where to add it to. So we're going to say le dot position, and I'm actually going to use global transform dot origin equals position. Position. So what we're doing is getting the little enemy that we are instantiating, and we're setting its global transform.origin equal to our position currently as the main enemy. And the global transform.origin is basically just its position relative to the global world. So we're just telling it to start our guy basically inside of this, and then it will, after 3 seconds, move out and move that way. So let's go ahead and try that and see if we can move everything around. And of course we can add, I don't think we really need a world environment, so let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So after 3 seconds we should be seeing something move out of there. Possibly. Maybe not. Perhaps not. Debugger, what is the issue? Parent node is busy setting up children. So I guess we'll have to say, so we have to wait for this to be ready. So we could just put a, timer on this as well. So we'll put a timer there, and we'll wait, I don't know, 2 seconds should be fine. One shot, auto start. There are other ways to get around this. I'm just doing this for the, for brevity's sake. And can we put this on the main enemy? Awesome. Connect. Nice. And then we'll take this and Control X and Control V. And we'll get rid of all that. And what is the problem here? Oh, we have a extra thingy right there. So now we should be good. After 3 seconds, this will sound the alarm, and then it will set off this function, and then we'll spawn our guy. Let's go ahead and add a world environment because our scene looks abysmal. So we have a world environment, new environment here, background, clear color, sky. It doesn't really matter what you add here, just new sky, and probably a procedural sky will do. Now we have an actual environment to look around in, I believe. So let's go ahead and try that. And we can move around very fast, so that's a little issue. We can see our idle thing printing out, and you can see our cube shot off way into the distance. So everything's moving way too fast. So all we need to do is change this down to like 0.5 right there, and we'll go to our enemy. We need to set his movement amount down to, let's do like 0.2. It looks good. All right, and yeah, let's try that now. So after a few seconds, we should see our, oh, we're still in the idle. He switches, and he's moving. He's in his walk forward state, and he will continually advance towards the player over here. So now we just need to make some stuff to shoot at him. We need to see what'll happen. Okay, so adding health to our enemy is pretty easy. We can just add a variable here called health. At onReady var health. So we'll set that equal to, I don't know, 30 is a good amount right now. You know what, let's set it equal to 10, and we'll do 1 point of damage, make it as simple as possible. So we walk forward. We're going to need another state for die. So we'll just have it fade out whenever it dies, and we'll just say self. We don't even need that. We can just say queue free. So whenever we die, we queue free, and so we just need to make a function right here for take damage. So we'll say func take damage. We'll keep this take sandwich. Take you have found a sandwich. Take damage, and we'll just get the amount of damage as well. Why not? And we'll just say health helath health minus equals damage amount. Sorry, not damage. Amount. And yeah, and then we'll say if health is less than or equal to 0, then the next state is sadly equal to die. So we will die, 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 my darling, and perfect. Let's try that out. Of course, we're going to need something to hit us. So we have our enemy collision here. We also need to be able to hit our player. So we can go to our player and we can say, what do we need here? Another area. Why not? Area 3D. And then we'll add a collision shape to that. Or I could also do this. I'll do the same trick. Mesh, create tri-mesh static body, and then drag that right here, and delete that. And I'm going to call this player collision. Collision, there we go. Awesome. So yeah, that's good for right now. I might have to end up making that larger or something, and I can move my player. There are better ways to do that, but for right now, that's how I'm doing it. And yeah, it's just a demonstration purpose. We could always just add a box or whatever. I think that's actually a better idea. I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to go here and add a collision shape. just to keep it kosher. Collision shape right there. And we'll go, bam, new box. We'll take our box and we'll expand it out to where we think it should be. That way we can have our guys a little off center and they'll still hit our player once they get to that point. So we'll have that right there. This is where we collide with, and we'll go, yeah, all that looks good. So we'll have a script here on our player as well. And scenes player, fine, why not? And we're just going to, we'll leave that in for now. We will go to, we're going to go to this player collision node, area entered, and we'll say player connect, and we'll just say the player was hit. So print the player, a cube has just struck the player. A cube has just struck the Pentagon, struck the player. All right, so yeah, nice. We have that. We're also going to need to add another scene, and we're going to call this one a tower. So this one needs to detect what is around us and then attack if it's an enemy. So we're going to add an area 3D, and we're also going to add a collision shape 3D. And I'm going to make this one a cylinder shape. And if I go to my 3D, we'll have it like this. And let's just go ahead and make a cylinder as well. So we'll add a mesh instance here. And we'll make a, where is it? New cylinder mesh. This has nothing to do with the collision, so we can really make this whatever shape we want. I'm going to go kind of, we'll make the top kind of, you know, spindly like that, and we'll make the height a little bit bigger to show that it's, you know, cool. So then we'll bring it up like this. So that will be our tower. We could even put like something at the top, but I'm not going to. And then we have our area, and this is where things will collide with that we can see to shoot them. So we're going to bring this up about right here. I guess it really doesn't matter. We'll expand this out and around just like this. So if it comes within this area, our tower should be able to detect it and shoot at it. So we'll say detection area, and I'm just going to call this tower mesh because there's no reason not to. Tower mesh. Strictly visual, doesn't really do anything but that. And cool. So let's make it so that we can actually fire at the things that we come into contact with, and I'm going to move this up a little bit. So we'll add a script here, and we probably should put it somewhere other than that. Let's put it in the scripts folder. All right, so we'll go to node. I want to go to this detection area, area entered, connect, and we'll connect that to our tower. And we'll say if area is in group, and we'll check the group enemy. Enemy, no, we want enemy. And if it's in that group, then we will tell it to take, well, we don't want to do that right now. We'll just say, we're going to make a current var. So we're going to say on ready var target, or current target, why not? Current target. Yeah, target. And we'll set it equal to null. And then here, if we do have a target, then we'll set our area, the incoming area, equal to the target. So we'll say area.get owner. Just like that. So what that will do is we're going to collide with this collision shape. Basically this area 3D is what we'll collide with, and we'll get the enemy script because we're colliding with that. By saying get owner, we're getting the owner of the collision shape. Because we don't actually collide with this, we collide with this. So nice. And we also need to add this to the group. So I'm going to go back to my enemy script here, and in the ready function I'm going to say add to group, add to group, and we'll just throw the enemy right on in there. Cool. So we have that. We have our tower, which is unsaved. We're going to go ahead and we probably should make a tower scene. Yeah, why not? Tower. There we go. Cool. So now we have a current target. And what we could do is this. We could make a state machine here if we wanted to. We could also just check if we have a current target and then attack that current target. And that is really only going to work if we have one current target at a time, and then we get a new one as soon as that one's gone. So, yeah, we'll see how that works. Let's try that out. All right, so we'll just say if current target is not equal to null, we want to shoot at target. Cool. And otherwise we won't do anything. So now we have to make that function shoot at target. And I think what I'll do is just spawn a mesh and then shoot that mesh at the player. And it's actually easier to make that as a scene and load in the scene as opposed to loading in a new mesh, I believe. So, because we can add effects in it too, it'll be easier. So I'm just going to create this mesh. It's going to be a ball, and this is what we're going to be shooting at the player. So we'll make it a little bit 0.25 and I guess 0.5. It's a small one. We'll make the material like a yellow. And we're not going to be shooting this at the player. We're going to be shooting it at the enemy. So we'll go all the way here for enemy for yellow, and we'll just call this projectile. Projectile. And cool. Yeah, and there are a few ways we could do this. We can add an area, and then we could make it when it actually hits the tower, then it does damage to it. Or we could just make a timer on our tower, and every time, whenever our thing is in range, it'll just be doing damage continually every few seconds with a timer. But I'm actually going to make this a area, and every time it collides with our mesh, it will do damage. So we're going to say area 3D, and this will be projectile collision. Projectile collision. And yeah, we'll go, what do we need here? We need a collision shape. Collision shape 3D, awesome. And then we'll go sphere, and we'll make it just about, it doesn't really have to be that close. Perfect. That reminds me of Jimmy Neutron. And I'm going to make a new folder because I love making new folders, and we'll call this projectiles. There's no reason to set up this type of file structure at all, but I'm doing it. So projectile, what do we want to do with this? We basically have to make this move towards what we're shooting at. And we can give this a little bit of variability by doing it this way. We could make a marker at the top of the tower. Right here, we'll bring that up, put it right there, and we'll basically tween from wherever this is. We'll spawn in one of our balls, and then we'll shoot it at wherever the target is. And based on the rate of the projectile and the rate of our enemy would determine, like, you know, if it's actually going to hit it or not. So instead of tweening directly to where it is, it'll be like a position slightly in the past. So hopefully our projectile shoots fast. So let's try that. We're going to call this projectile start. Nice. And what we want to do is we're going to say, I guess we'll say git, we're going to say var use tween is what I'm going to call it, use tween, and we'll say equals get tree dot create tween. And then we'll say use tween, and I think it's what is it, interpolate value? Yeah, and the value is going to be well, let's go ahead and spawn our projectile. I totally forgot about that. So at onReady var, we've already done this once, projectile. I'm just going to call him, we'll call him projectile. And then we'll say load and where you add projectile right there, and then we just have to spawn that in here. So we'll say var proj equals projectile dot instantiate, just like that. So wonderful. Now we want to say proj.addChild. Actually, we want to say add child proj. So we're adding our projectile, and we also want to set him to proj.topLevel is true. Let me double check how that works. So we have this thing called where is it? I'm sure it's on here somewhere. If I close here, it might be hard to find on one of these, but some of them have this thing that say use as top level. I don't know if we have it here. Let's try it. But yeah, actually, well, you know what? We'll just spawn this as a child of the world. So we'll just say get parent.addChild. So get parent.addChild. That way we don't have to fool around with that nonsense. So add child. Basically, we want this moving with the world and not moving with ourselves, because we don't want that happening. Because it's a projectile, it should move with the world and not the actual tower itself. So we add our projectile to the world, and we're going to interpolate the value of our projectile from its starting point, and we also have to set that. So proj.global transform transform.origin sorry, not that, equals, and we'll say position, and we got to say marker.position. Nice. What is the problem here? Oh, we need am I in the wrong script? I think I am. No, I'm not. I'm just in the wrong scene. Here we go. That's right, our projectile doesn't have a script yet. Sorry. So we need to say $marker, and it's projectile start, not marker. Sorry. Projectile start. Perfect. So now we just need to add our arguments here. So we're going to say initial value, and then the variant, we want to vary the position, and then the initial value, the elapsed time. I think I have the wrong function here. Let me look up tweens real quick. It tells you which one to use. They changed it at one point. I think it's what is it, tween method, I believe. I think it's tween property. Yes, tween property, sorry. I used to use the old version of it. So use tween property. There we go. So we get whatever we're trying to tween. We then get the property, which is position. We're going to get the whatever the final value is, and then the time. So the final value will be, we have to get whatever our current target is. So we'll say current target dot global transform dot origin, and that should be a vector 3, and then we'll do that in we'll do it in, I guess, half a second. So we should be shooting at the target, but we're going to be doing this too much, so we need to kind of slow down and wait for ourselves to reload, because we can't just be like, boo. Actually, let's try it right now. I think what's going to happen, it's going to shoot and load a whole bunch of projectiles, so that'll be funny, and we have to make sure that we delete these at some point. So can we say use tween dot whatever, you know what, it's not important, we'll just see what happens. This will be funny. So let's go ahead and try that. We should be able to do that. All right, let's run it. And we need to put our tower into the script. So normally we would spawn this through UI, like the player would click a button and spawn a tower somewhere. But for right now, we can't do that. So what we're going to do is, I guess we'll just set one in for now to test the tower. So tower, bam, and we'll put him like right here. So our guy will spawn in and then run right at him. So he'll use his stand your ground law to defend himself. And we'll see how that goes for him. So here it comes. Our guy is really, really slow. I'm sorry for that. This is the slowest part of the fucking tutorial right now. I'll speed this up. For fuck's sake. Oh boy. Oh Lord, it's going. Anytime now. Anytime now. Alright, so it's not going to work. It's not shooting. I don't see anything being spawned in. So, let's go ahead and get out of here. Let me do this. I'll go to debug, visible collision shapes. We should always be doing that, really. If I go here, so that's basically right in front of the dude. I'm going to move this way closer, so we're like right there. So now we will know for sure if we hit it or not. Yeah, and I guess we're not calling anything on our projectile. Let's go back to our tower and double check what we did here. So we're spawning our projectile in, adding it. Oh, we need to say use tween dot play. Awesome. If area is in group enemy, current target equals area.getOwner. Awesome. So let's give that a shot. And I'm going to go to 3D. And I guess there's no way we can miss. So alright, so I'm pretty sure it's because I'm using a tri-mesh static body on the tower. So what I'm going to do is, on the enemy. I just wanted to try that out, but I guess it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is delete that, and I'm just going to add in another collision shape, and we'll actually make a collision shape this time instead of trying to take shortcuts like an idiot. So we'll do this. I'll just bring this up. Bring that down, and we'll make it relatively what it is. It doesn't have to be crazy perfect. So just like that, and we'll see what happens now. Let's go back to our world, and I'm pretty sure this should work. We should see these intersect and at least something being spawned and shot at, but apparently not. So are we updating in our tower? Let's take a look. I'm going to print area. It might be that we are not monitoring something. So we're all in layer 1. I haven't changed any of the layers. Let's try that again. All right. All right, enemy collision. I guess. Oh, that's right, because our actual collision is not in the group. So all we have to do is this. Sorry, I meant to do this. Enemy collision dot add to group. That should be in the group. There we go. Then we should start shooting at it, and maybe we shoot the wrong direction, but hey, that's life. So anytime now. Yeah, see, now we're just spawning in a ton of them, and I think we're going in the wrong direction, but yeah, my graphic card probably isn't very happy right now. You can see that none of these are going away, and they're just spawning 60 frames a second, and there's a trail of them going away in that direction. So I probably should stop doing this. So let's go ahead and fix that, but at least we know we're shooting at the guy. So what we want to do is only shoot at him like every 2 or 3 seconds. So we got to add a timer in here, and then we'll just have a can shoot variable. So we'll say if can shoot, and this is a very simple way to do it. If can shoot equals true. And whenever we shoot at the target, we'll just set it equal to false. So we'll say can shoot equals false. And of course, we need to create that variable as an onReady. So it doesn't really matter where you put an onReady. You can put it down here or up there. So we'll just set this to true. It's not true. And then we have that we can shoot. We have the timer. The timer should not be a one shot. Let's set it equal to 0.5. And then the projectile itself, we need to add a script to now. And we will just go ahead and add it here. It doesn't really matter that much. We can get rid of all of that. And the projectile collision, all we have to do is say area entered, connect. And then we will say if we hit the player. So if area dot is in group player and not player, sorry, enemy, then the enemy, the area dot get owner. So whatever we hit, get its owner, and then that should take damage. So we'll take damage, and we'll pass in the 1 point of damage we said we were going to do earlier. And what we can also do is go back to our enemy, and we'll start adding in a label 3D so we can show our actual health. So we'll bring that up here. We'll go to inspector, we'll go to text, and we'll just put 10 to represent our health. I'm going to make that bigger. And here's where you could add fonts and stuff and make it exciting, but we're not going to. We'll go to billboard, and we're going to say enabled. Cool, and I'm going to call this health. Health, yeah, that's how you spell it, right? Cool. And whenever we take damage, I'll just update health. So right here, we'll just say health, health dot text equals health. And we have to convert this to a string because right now it's an integer, and we need it as a string variable, otherwise we'll get an error. So, perfect. We have our tower, we have our projectile, and we have our enemy. And the projectile, whenever they hit anything, they should queue free. So, right after this, we will queue free and delete ourselves from the scene. So let's go ahead and run that, and we should have a more balanced... Oh, I forgot to... if I go back to our tower, I never put the timer to do anything. So we got to go node, timeout, connect it to the tower, and then all we're doing is allowing the shooting again. So can shoot equals true. So we're just flipping that so our guy can shoot again. Let's try that one more time. Yeah. So our guy should come out soon. It looks like our thing is starting way over there. It looks like our timer is not timing out. So let's take a look at what our timer is doing. Timer, we need to, it's not set to one shot. Auto start. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So we need to auto start the timer. It was just doing that one shot. Okay, so I think we're spawning from the wrong place as well. I think I need to change this to global transform.origin. So global transform.origin. There we go. Awesome. So let's go back to our world and run that again and see what happens. So we're idle, and then we should start moving forward, and we should shoot from up here to right there. And nice. Let's see what happens when our health reaches 0. EQ freeze. Cool. So we probably have some issues now, and I'll point one out. So what I'm going to do is when our... we'll just spawn some more stuff. So yeah, let's go to our world, and let's go to our... What do we want? Our enemy. Where's our main enemy? So he spawns stuff. So we only have one spawning right now, and that's on this timer. So if we set this to not one shot, but it did it every 2 seconds, and we spawn one every 2 seconds, what would that look like? And then we'll also go to our enemy, and I'm just going to take their timer down to just like 0.1, just a very small interval of them standing there. So we'll try that, and our tower will probably get confused and error out. Let's see. Because now it has 2 targets to contend with. Okay, so it continues with that one, then it goes to the next. Actually, that's pretty interesting. I did not expect it to work that well. Let's see how it handles more. So it's basically doing its best, but it can't handle all these. So this is the basics of how you would make a... that's a very interesting pattern. It can only do about 3 shots before they keep continuing on. So, cool. Yeah, because we are updating. Alright, awesome. So now what do we need to do? We need to go to our player, and if the player is hit, we take damage. We would have to have a main damage for the player. But yeah, these are basically the basics of how you could do that. So I'm just going to spawn a couple more of these, and we'll show that. Awesome. So now we'll see if this works with 3 of them. Alright, let's see if they can survive the gauntlet. It looks like we're not hitting anything, but they are running into them later on, so they're like little landmines. So the other way to do that is when your tween is all completed, then you could just get rid of the ball as well if you didn't want them to stick around and be used as little landmines, but I kind of think that's pretty cool, honestly. So yeah, this is the basics of how you could do a tower defense game. I just wanted to make this very quickly, and I'll probably make more videos showing you how you could do more stuff. But yeah, then whenever the player takes damage, you would, update your damage. And you would basically hook up some UI on the screen here to put the towers wherever. You could even shoot a raycast from the camera and then just have the wherever you touch be where the tower is spawned. That would be pretty simple. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for right now. I am the average Godot enjoyer, and I'll probably be updating the series. People kept asking for it, so I just wanted to put the first video out. It was tower defense, and I haven't really made much tutorial videos. I do live streams, but yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching. If you want more content from me, come check me out every day. Every day, weekdays, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I do streaming 6:30 to around 8:30. Yeah, we build shit with Godot. Oh no, we're about to get hit. Bam. Okay. Somewhere in there it says we took damage. But then this guy keeps going. We would Q free him as well. But, yeah. Oh, no. Sir. a second one has hit the blue thingy. Okay, well, thank you. That's the whole video.